They didn't just lock her away, they tried to erase her mind, piece by piece, while smiling to her face. Imagine your own family, the ones you trusted, deciding you were inconvenient, deciding your life's work. Your very thoughts were theirs for the taking. It sounds like fiction, right, like something from a twisted movie. But this happened. I'm Victoria, and you're listening to stories that grip you, stories that matter, stories that sometimes make your blood run cold. Today's story, it's one of those. It comes from a woman I'll call Elena. Elena is, well, she's brilliant, a retired librarian, sharp as a tack, with this quiet intensity. You wouldn't guess it maybe. She seems gentle, unassuming, but underneath, there's steel, forged in quiet corners, over dusty books, and surprisingly, over competitive strategy games. She shared her story with me, because she wants people to know. To be aware, and maybe, because telling it, is part of taking back the power they tried to steal. This isn't just about money, though they took plenty. This is about identity, about legacy, about the terrifying ease with which someone's reality can be dismantled by the people closest to them. Prepare yourself, this is raw, and the ending, it's fierce. You absolutely need to hear how Elena turned the tables, with the kind of strategic brilliance that leaves you breathless. Hit that subscribe button right now, trust me, you don't want to miss a second of this. Transition to Elena's voice perspective. My world used to be quiet, ordered, filled with the scent of old paper and binding glue. I was a rare book librarian, curator really. For decades, my collection wasn't just a hobby, it was me, each volume chosen, researched, loved, first editions, signed copies, manuscripts. History held in my hands, my home reflected this. Shelves floor to ceiling, carefully climate-controlled, my sanctuary, my legacy. I never married. Never had children of my own. My sister's son David, and his wife Chloe, they were my closest family. David, always a bit aimless, charming when he wanted to be, but restless. Chloe seemed sweet, almost overly solicitous, always asking about my health, my finances, just wanting to help Auntie Elle. I helped them out over the years, down payments, emergencies. I was comfortable, not extravagant, but comfortable. My wealth wasn't liquid. It was bound in calfskin and vellum. They visited often, especially after I retired, bringing groceries, fussing over me. It seemed kind, loving even. I had a fall, stupid really, tripped over a rug, broke my wrist, nothing major, but it was the opening they needed. Suddenly, their concern became suffocating. Oh, Auntie Elle, you shouldn't be alone. We worry so much. Maybe we should stay here for a bit, just until you're fully recovered. It seemed reasonable. At first, I was managing fine, honestly. A broken wrist isn't the end of the world, but they insisted. David took time off work. Chloe practically moved in. They were everywhere, managing my appointments, my mail, my meals, always with that bright, brittle cheerfulness. Let us handle that, Auntie Elle. Don't you worry your pretty little head. Subtle shifts began almost immediately. My longtime doctor suddenly retired. They found me a new one. Dr. Finch, younger, seemed easily influenced by Chloe's fluttering concerns. She seems a bit confused today, doctor, Chloe would murmur while I was right there, forgetting things, repeating herself. Dr. Finch would nod, sympathetically, at them. Prescriptions started appearing. Something to help you rest, Auntie Elle. Just a mild sedative. Dr. Finch thinks it's best. The pills made me foggy, slow. It was harder to concentrate, harder to push back. My phone calls became screened. Oh, your friend Mary called. I told her you were resting. That book club meeting, probably too tiring for you right now. My mail started disappearing. Professional journals, auction catalogues, letters from fellow collectors. David said he was handling it, sorting the junk, but my correspondence dwindled to nothing. They suggested, gently at first, that managing my finances was becoming stressful for me. Why don't we set up power of attorney, Auntie Elle, just for practicality, so we can pay bills easily if you're not feeling up to it? I hesitated. It felt wrong, but I was feeling so tired, so groggy from the medication. Chloe presented it like a favor, a way to ease my burden. Dr. Finch even chimed in during one visit. Chloe had clearly prepped him. It's a sensible step, Elena. Gives you peace of mind. They brought the papers. A lawyer they knew, quick, efficient. I signed, feeling a wave of dizziness. Was it the pills? Or fear? I remember Chloe's hand resting on mine, cool, firm. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. That signature was the key that unlocked my cage, and threw away the key. Things accelerated then. The sedation increased. Subtly, Dr. Finch adjusted the dosage. Based on Chloe's reports of my agitation and confusion, days blurred. I slept more, drifted. My library, my beautiful books, became distant. I'd try to go in, sit with them, but I'd feel weak, unsteady. Chloe would steer me back to my chair. Rest now, Auntie Elle, you look pale. David started spending time in the library. Alone, he said he was organizing, cataloguing, helping me. I had a meticulous system, decades old. He wouldn't understand it. I tried to explain. My voice felt thick, my thoughts scattered. He'd just pat my hand. Don't worry, I've got this. Then I started noticing gaps. A specific first edition, gone from its usual spot. A signed manuscript, vanished. I asked David, "Where's the Hawthorne?" He looked blank. "Which one, Auntie? You have so many." "The Scarlet Letter, first issue, blue cloth binding." My voice trembled. "Oh, that one." I think I moved it. Better airflow. He waved vaguely. But it wasn't there. Maury disappearances, small at first, then bolder, key pieces, valuable pieces, vanishing. Panic started to cut through the fog. Cold, sharp. I confronted them, tried to. My words came out jumbled. I accused, I pleaded. Chloe would exchange glances with David. Sad, knowing glances. "Oh, Auntie, you're confused again. You probably misplaced it yourself. Maybe you donated it. You mentioned wanting to simplify." "I never said that. Never." They were gaslighting me, systematically, expertly, using the drugs, using my isolation, using their facade of care. They started bringing experts, appraisers, friends of theirs I suspect, whispering in the library, handling my treasures. I felt like a ghost in my own home, watching my life be dismantled. Powerless, the ultimate violation, came disguised as concern. Chloe sat beside me, her face a mask of sympathy. "Auntie Elle, David and I have been talking, and Dr. Finch agrees." My blood ran cold. "This house, it's too much for you. And your obsession with the books, it's not healthy. Obsession, my life's work. We found a lovely place, quiet, secure, where you'll have round-the-clock care. A nursing home. They were going to put me away. And the collection, it's a burden. We think it's best to donate it to the university library, in your name, of course. Donate my collection, worth millions, built over 50 years, to be scattered, absorbed, losing its identity, my identity. The donation was a lie. I knew it. They planned to sell it, pocket the money. After stashing me somewhere I couldn't object, they showed me brochures, glossy pictures of smiling seniors. They talked about simplified living. Peace of mind. It was a death sentence. Erasure. That was the moment, the absolute rock bottom, staring at the brochure, the picture of a sterile room, imagining my books, poured over, sold off, scattered. Something inside me didn't just break, it hardened. The fog, the despair, it didn't lift, it coalesced into pure, cold rage, not hot rage, that burns out. This was ice, sharp, focused. They thought I was fadding, confused, docile. They underestimated the mind honed by decades of intricate research, by countless hours staring down opponents across a chessboard, a go bored, anticipating moves, plotting strategies. They thought the librarian was just a librarian. They forgot. Librarians are keepers of knowledge, and knowledge is power, and they forgot. Strategy isn't just for games. My mind suddenly felt clearer than it had in months. The lingering effects of the drugs were there, but the fury. It burned through. I had to play their game. But better. I started, pretending, leaning into their narrative, acting more confused, more sedated than I truly was, nodding vaguely, murmuring agreement, letting sentences trail off. It was sickeningly easy. They wanted to believe it, so they did. Chloe would report to Dr. Finch. "She's slipping fast," and he'd dutifully note it down. Increasing the meds I only pretended to take completely. Hiding pills under my tongue, flushing them later. Slowly, carefully, I began to gather threads. David was careless. He'd leave his laptop open sometimes, make calls in the hallway. Thinking I was asleep or too out of it to hear, I learned names, buyers, auction houses he was tentatively contacting under assumed names, trying to gauge interest in an anonymous estate collection. They were getting impatient, greedy. I needed proof, concrete proof, and a way out. My chance came, unexpectedly. Through their own arrogance, David decided to help me request books from the main library, something I used to do regularly. Now framed as keeping my mind stimulated, he'd bring me the online request form, fill it out based on my mumbled requests. He thought it was harmless, busy work for the old lady, but I knew the system. I knew the librarians there, especially one, Arthur Pendleton. Arthur. My professional rival for decades, we respected each other, grudgingly, competed fiercely for acquisitions, debated endlessly over bibliographic points. He was sharp, meticulous, and he knew my collection, knew my handwriting, knew my specific areas of obscure interest. I started making requests, seemingly random, but they weren't random. I used specific call numbers, rare editions, titles that formed a message, a code only Arthur might catch. Requesting, binding comparison, Bodoni versus Baskerville, early print runs, referencing a specific, famous forgery case we'd argued about, need information, provenance tracking, stolen incunabula, post-WWII, hinting at theft, cross-reference, pharmaceutical side effects, cognitive impairment, elder care statutes. Signaling my situation, it was a long shot, a desperate message in a bottle, tossed into the digital ocean. Would Arthur even see it? Would he understand, or dismiss it as the ramblings of a declining mind? Weeks passed, nothing. My hope dwindled. The charade grew harder. David and Chloe were finalizing plans for the care facility, talking about selling my house. Then, one afternoon, David brought in the mail. He tossed a small package onto my lap. "Another book you requested, Auntie." He barely glanced at it. It was from the library, but inside wasn't just the book I'd requested using another coded title. Tucked within the pages was a tiny note on official library stock, in Arthur's precise, unmistakable script. It read, "Understood, await instructions, the game is afoot." AP tears welled, relief so sharp it hurt. I wasn't alone. My strategist mind kicked into high gear. Arthur was my outside move, my unexpected checkmate. I needed to give him instructions, safely. I used the next library request, carefully. Require access, secure archives, research purposes, need intermediary, trusted courier, and I included the name, the only name I could trust outside, my lawyer, Sarah Jenkins, a sharp woman I'd hired years ago to set up my initial will. Before David and Chloe wormed their way in, I hadn't spoken to her in ages. Chloe had intercepted her calls. Arthur understood. He contacted Sarah, discreetly. Explained the situation, vouched for my coded messages. Sarah was horrified and furious. She remembered me clearly. Sharp, articulate. The woman Arthur described trapped in her own home sounded nothing like me. The game changed. Now I had allies, powerful allies. Sarah began working, legally, quietly, investigating Dr. Finch, checking the power of attorney documents, looking into David and Chloe's finances. Arthur played his part brilliantly. Using his network, his reputation, he started, subtly, letting word slip in the rare book world, about the possible availability of certain items from an undisclosed private collection, matching key pieces David had been researching. He dangled the bait, knowing David's greed. Meanwhile, I needed hard evidence. From inside, I remembered an old gift, a pen, with a built-in micro-recorder, something I'd dismissed as a silly gadget. Now, it was my weapon. I started carrying it, clicking it on during conversations, when Chloe detailed my decline to Dr. Finch over the phone, when David discussed prices with potential shady buyers, when they argued between themselves about how quickly they could liquidate everything once I was settled. The recordings were chilling, their callousness, their impatience, their utter lack of empathy. It fueled my resolve. Sarah confirmed the POA was legally executed. Damn it. But likely under duress and misrepresentation. Harder to prove, but the medical manipulation, that was key. She found irregularities in Dr. Finch's practice. Complaints settled quietly. Arthur's whispers worked. David got an inquiry from a major auction house expressing interest based on Arthur's anonymous source information. This wasn't some back alley deal. This was legitimizing, tempting. David and Chloe took the bait, hook, line and sinker. They arranged a private valuation at the auction house, agreeing to bring several key items, the most valuable, the ones they'd stolen first. This was it, the moment to spring the trap. Sarah coordinated everything, contacted the police, fraud unit, elder abuse specialists, provided them with my recordings, her initial findings, Arthur's testimony. The plan was audacious, risky, but oh so satisfying. The day of the valuation arrived. David and Chloe were practically giddy, dressed up, smelling of expensive perfume and desperation. They helped me get ready. Just a little outing, Auntie Elle, a change of scenery. I played my part, slumped, vacant, letting them guide me. Inside, my heart was pounding, a battle drum. We arrived at the auction house, plush carpets, hushed tones, valuable art on the walls. David carried a secure briefcase, containing treasures that represented my soul. They led me to a private viewing room. An appraiser waited, along with Arthur Pendleton. David looked surprised. "Arthur, what are you doing here?" Arthur smiled, thinly. "Consulting on a matter of provenance." Chloe shot Arthur a suspicious glance, but the lure of the valuation was too strong. David opened the briefcase, laid out the books, a first edition Poe, a signed Wolfe, a medieval manuscript I'd spent years authenticating. The appraiser began his examination. Arthur watched intensely. Then Sarah Jenkins walked in, flanked by 2 uniformed police officers and a detective. David's face went white. Chloe gasped, stepping back. "David Morrow, Chloe Morrow," the detective said, his voice calm, firm. "We have some questions for you." David started blustering. "What is this? There must be some mistake." "Oh, I don't think so," Sarah said, stepping forward. "Elena," and then I did something they never expected. I straightened up, tall, my eyes clear, sharp, focused, the fog completely gone, replaced by ice. I looked directly at David, then Chloe, my voice steady, strong, ringing with righteous anger. "Mistake," I said. "The mistake was thinking I was weak. The mistake was thinking you could drug me, isolate me, steal my life's work, try to erase me and get away with it." Their faces crumpled, shock, disbelief, then dawning horror. "You," Chloe stammered. "But the doctor, the confusion." "An act," I stated coldly. "Every slurred word, every moment of confusion, calculated, while you revealed your rotten cause." I held up the pen recorder. "Evidence, David discussing illegal sales, Chloe coaching Dr. Finch, your entire disgusting plan. Recorded." Arthur stepped forward, addressing the appraiser and police. "These items, stolen from Miss Elena Vance's private collection, under duress and manipulation." Sarah presented the documentation, the preliminary evidence of medical fraud, financial exploitation, conspiracy. The police moved in. "You have the right to remain silent." David didn't remain silent. He started shouting, accusing me, accusing Arthur, wild, desperate. Chloe just sobbed, collapsing into a chair, the picture of pathetic guilt. They were escorted out in handcuffs past the curious eyes of the auction house staff. Their elegant charade shattered in the most public way possible, among the very world they sought to exploit. The fallout was swift and brutal, just as I intended. Criminal charges stuck: fraud, theft, forgery, conspiracy, elder abuse, medical fraud. Dr. Finch lost his license and faced charges too. The recordings were damning, my testimony lucid and powerful. Arthur's corroboration unshakable. The court proceedings were messy. They tried to paint me as vindictive, mentally unstable, grasping at straws, but the evidence was overwhelming. Sarah was magnificent, tearing their defense apart. Piece by piece, they lost everything. Prison sentences, not as long as I'd hoped, but significant. Civil suits followed. Sarah helped me claw back every cent they'd managed to siphon off. Liquidated assets, garnished future earnings. They were left with nothing, buried in debt, their reputations incinerated. I made sure of that. I worked with a journalist, a reputable one, gave her the story, the full story, including the details of the medical gaslighting. The isolation, the betrayal, it was published widely, naming names, detailing their cruelty and their greed, the rare book community, the library world, my local community. They knew. Everyone knew what David and Chloe had done. They were pariahs. My collection was recovered, intact, every precious volume returned to its rightful place, my sanctuary restored, but I wasn't the same. How could I be? The quiet trust I once had, gone, replaced by vigilance, a harder edge. I implemented ironclad legal protections, a trust managed by an independent firm, specific directives about my care, my collection, my legacy. No family member would ever have that kind of access again. I sold a few select pieces, not because I needed the money, but to fund something new, a foundation, dedicated to assisting victims of elder financial abuse, providing legal aid, raising awareness, fighting back. My rage found its purpose, transforming into advocacy. Sometimes, late at night, surrounded by my books, the silence feels different. It's the silence of solitude. Yes, but also the silence of victory. They tried to break me, to erase me. Instead, they forged me into something stronger, sharper. They thought the game was over. They didn't realize I was just waiting to make my final move. Checkmate. Transition back to Victoria's voice perspective. Wow, just wow, take a breath. I know I need one. Elena's story, the calculation, the cold fury, the sheer strategic brilliance of her fight back. It's intense, isn't it? The way they tried to dismantle her reality, piece by piece, using care as a weapon. It's terrifying, but that turning point, where the despair hardened into that icy resolve, and the way she used her intellect, her knowledge, her hidden strengths, the strategy games, the library codes. Against them, it's incredible. She didn't just want justice, she wanted them exposed, ruined, utterly defeated, and she achieved it, ruthlessly, meticulously. It raises questions, doesn't it? That level of retribution, was it purely justice, or did it cross into vengeance? Does it matter? When the betrayal was so profound, so cruel, what do you think? Where is the line? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I genuinely want to hear what you feel after hearing Elena's story, and if stories like this, stories of resilience, of fighting back against impossible odds, resonate with you, make sure you're subscribed, and hit that notification bell. We share stories here that you won't find anywhere else, stories that need to be heard. Thank you for listening, really listening. Until next time, stay aware, stay strong, and take care of each other. Especially the elders in your life. You never know the steel that might be hiding beneath a gentle surface.